Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Patty Greer, and today we're going to be talking about the chemtrails, the 5G towers, the smart meters, the glyphosate in our food, and also the fluoride in the water. And all of this is to obviously, poison our bodies. I have to be careful what I say because I want to put this on YouTube, and obviously I want to bypass all the censorship to get to all of you guys so that we can spread the word as much as possible. But however, this is also an attempt to, this is a spiritual attempt to disconnect you from your intuition, if you like, or your nervous system or your heart, and to keep you in your egoic mind, to keep you in the head. And Princess Diana said that she leads by the heart, and she doesn't lead by the head, but the establishment wants us to be led by the head because this is where the ego exists, the traumas, the past experiences, the mind, and this is how they can control us. Patty, thank you so much for joining me, but that's my theory. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Great opening because once you get past 60 or 70, your theories kind of change. And I'm very heart led now. And I am willing to surrender and sacrifice so much if it doesn't resonate with me. So I think a lot of people are really fighting family and fighting friends and fighting what's real and what isn't and trying to figure out is Candace truth and like all these different influencers are so confusing now because people are not really clearly led by this or this. They're kind of somewhere in the middle because we've been gifted so much misinformation and
Hmm.
we've also been bombarded by all the things that you mentioned on a daily, hourly basis. And it's a war against our body, mind, and spirit right now. And here we are so focused on the wars around the world. And some people love the fact that we're killing communism. And somebody is furious that a lot of people are dying. But it's hard to talk politics because people are so wound up right now. And I think we're extra wound because a lot of people are like drugging out to try and ease their pain. And I was tested recently, and that's what this presentation is about. I saw the monstrous crap in the sky, and of course, I'm a filmer. So I started taking photos, and it was really bad. Stripes in the sky. There are sea trails. We'll just say that so we don't, hit the algorithms and get banked, debanked. Anyway, those things in the sky, and sometimes they're rolling because of the HARP array added to the frequencies. You're going to get really blatant cloud formations. And those of us that know what we're looking at kind of ruins your day. And
Mm.
my family's just like, Mom, stop talking about it, and it's like, don't take me out in the car. I mean, I pull the visor down just so it blocks out those lines. But it's really hard when we know that we and our family and friends are being poisoned. And it is harsh reality. I love that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is there instead of, shall we say, him, her, them, they, Rachel Levine, that large man dressed as a woman, as Admiral, Queen, King, head of Health and Human Services. One of the more embarrassing chapters of American history was that whole Biden group of DEI hires. And the fact that anybody's mad right now that we've got real men in place rather than men in tutus and lace panties. Like, I'm sorry, I don't resonate with that 5 years of whatever happened at the elections. And then Mr. Biden, the poor dead guy, sitting there and everybody's auto penning. We lived through such a crime against humanity, and we are still the effect of it. But I love that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is cleaning it up a chunk at a time. So I did get sick, which again, I take this amazing product every day. C60 Evo organic olive oil. I know you do too.
I do
I
too.
take it preventatively because it boosts my immunity 172 times more than vitamin C. Peer reviewed only 125 times. That's good enough for me to, more than 100 times as strong as vitamin C as an antioxidant. I take it every day, preventative, so I don't get sick. And I haven't been sick since 2019.
Yep.
That's 7 years almost, and everybody I know now in Colorado and across America that writes to me is like, oh man, I've been so sick for a month. Really healthy people, but we are constantly being bombarded. And when your audience knows what to look for and days to perhaps when you can see the grid outside, so damning. I mean, I call it letters from Satan, when you
Mm,
scribble in the sky and they're dripping. Just don't take the baby in the stroller for a walk,
yeah.
and leave your shoes outside of your house because you don't want to walk it in. But there's so many preventative things, and that's what I want to talk about, not just the attack, but what we can do to stay healthy, because that's the punchline, and that's where we want to be thinking when we get back in our head. But on a daily basis, I really hope people will move back into their heart because I'm a very passive driver now. I flew down to Denver yesterday. My favorite thing in my car is 0 to 60 in a few seconds. I'm a beast when it comes to it, but I used to have a Harley. So now I've got a car and it's like, I got to pretend for a minute. But when people get aggressive or they're on my tail, I find myself acting like an old person, which I probably am. And I just chill, let them pass on the right or, go off the road. But I think we need to get back in our hearts because we have entered a very mean chapter in general in America. Are you finding that in England or not really?
Yeah, but in what sense? In what sense do you mean?
Uh, I live near Boulder, Colorado. So when I go to the grocery store and get checked out, it's mostly men and women's clothing because we are a state that welcomes that energy and wants to bring all those kids in. So, me being family minded and knowing that this has been an agenda against humanity to uh, feminize men and masculinize women. It's like they wanted a neuter society. And when we know about the things, that are dropping from the airplanes, aluminum, barium, strontium,
Mm,
they're also dropping these viruses.
yeah,
And supposedly Gates was really into dropping stuff that made men less fertile and women less fertile. So, cutting back on population because they're so worried. And, needless to say, they're trying to create their own societies at Zorro Ranch. It's just insanity. But again, the fighting of people is
yeah.
what I'm
I don't
seeing.
see much fighting of people, but I do see a lot of chemtrails here in London, and in the UK. When it's a blue sky, lovely day, and I look up, and there's about 6, 7 of them going around in the sky. Very, very long ones.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, why? Obviously, we know why. We're going to go into it now because you want to show a presentation. But in my opinion, it's to make us ill. It's to detach us from our spirits, from our intuition or your nervous system, to keep you in the mind so they can control you and to destroy our crops. And in Florida, the state of Florida have now declassified the chemicals in these chemtrails, and now it's no longer permitted for there to be any chemtrails allowed going over Florida. This is what I've heard. I did an interview with Lewis Holmes on this. But if anyone in Florida listening to this, you've seen chemtrails, please let us know and let us, make it clear in the comments below. So yeah, that's what we're seeing. Again, we're seeing a lot of 5G towers. Now, I've heard from my sources that the 5G towers and the things they wanted to put us in our arms in 2021 was to, when they were talking about nanoparticles in the body, and then you've got the 5G towers and all the heavy metals in our bodies. Well, apparently it's to connect you. What do they want to connect us for? Well, they want to send us frequency broadcast to control how we feel and to send thoughts into our brains to control how we think, to manipulate us, to make us more submissive, to make us want to accept the control system more. And I think will be a lead up to the digital ID that they want as well, which I think is a very big spiritual agenda behind the digital ID, but they'll be pushing that, for safety and security and for the immigrants, that they let in themselves. But I could go on forever here.
I
But
bet.
yeah, so much going on. Again, we've got the fluoride in the water. You know, that's to decalcify the pineal gland, to weaken your connection to yourself, to your intuition, so that you don't feel because you're a multi-dimensional being. We operate outside of time. That's our natural state. Now, they don't want us channeling, beyond time because they don't want us to figure them out. They want us to become obedient, to stay under control and becomes and stay as slaves. So this is what I think. It's a spiritual war. It's not just our health. It goes to the soul. It goes to the soul, it extends to the soul. So that's what I've got to say. But Patty, I can't wait to listen and watch your presentation that you've got to share
Well,
with
thank
us
you.
today.
You know, the thing that's so fascinating that I learned from my science partners is that what this literally does is it clears the mitochondria in the body, literally like it takes it out like a vacuum and out your system. And when we realize that the brain has 2 million mitochondria per molecule, per cell, 2 million mitochondria per cell in the brain, this is probably one of the best brain clarifiers going. The ESS60 molecule, which is the upgraded version of C60, carbon 60. And there's nothing stronger than this for clearing the mind and clearing the pineal gland, because when you've got 2 million mitochondria up front, the pineal gland is running kind of close. The rest of the body, blood has none, but the rest of the body has 50 to 5,000 mitochondria that we are cleaning when we take this product in the morning, capsules or a spoonful. I take it by the spoon, but I'm constantly clearing the mitochondria. So my brain scares people. My focus is nonstop. So let's go to the presentation because we're on the right track
Yes.
to really be able to help people move forward. So, okay, here we are. Can you see the presentation?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what we have here is you've got kind of a subtle sea trail in the back, and right in the middle, you can see how they drip. Like they're not contrails. It's not condensation when that line is dripping and another plane is flying the other way and they're just filling the sky. But I call it climate change clouds because there's not climate change going on. There's humans forcing climate change, in my opinion. And they're doing quite the job. I live in Colorado where they're really allowing it just at terrible levels, but we're also the state that presented cloud seeding, which is chemtrails from the ground up. So they're spewing these terrible chemicals from these machines on Earth, just destroying everything. And it's Colorado's just, I'm sorry to say, my kids just left. I'm very happy. I'm going to be leaving next. So, smart meters. These are the round meters that they forced on many people. And they came and took your safe meter off your house and stuck these monitored meters where they say that, it's an upgrade, but basically it's a coincidence maybe that the Mondo fires that happened in Paradise, California, Boulder, Colorado, they never talk about the fire that burned 1,176 houses to the ground. Trees standing, houses dust.
Wow.
Anything blue
Yeah.
was still saved. We know that there's something going on with the smart meters and the directed energy, which now we have Trump admitting the directed energy weapons are very potent and very much used. And I can't say it's true because I wasn't monitoring, but it would appear to me that the smart meters are very dangerous. And if the city doesn't like you, they can make your electric bill be whatever they want. And that's what I've seen. So the next one is the cell towers. When I bought this beautiful home near my family, it was a canyon going up to just beauty, mountains. They stuck 29 cell towers in the canyon. And now I drive up the canyon swearing at all 29 of them and yelling, go back to China because the technology is, again, trying to kill us. And it's from Huawei, China. Well, let's get all this Chinese stuff out of here because we know that they brought the fentanyl stuff and they brought the cell tower technology and the smart meter technology. This is all from communist China. And we had, unfortunately, communist leaders in Barack, and Barack pretending to be Joe. You know, he was in the basement telling him what to do, getting Biden's staff to do his bidding. But you know, we've been really kind of in trouble for the last 10 years in America, probably 12 years with Joe Obama, I call that chapter. And they let all these things happen with China. Just nailed us. The fluoride in the water, whose idea is that? Oh, right, they want to minimize the population. Again, these are things that don't need to be happening with intelligent leaders. And then we've got the glyphosate in the food. Now, when you read a label, you think, oh, wow, look at these beautiful organic crackers from Whole Foods, which is our, you know, natural food store. And my kids come over and they're like, oh, these are like butter, like Ritz crackers, but organic. Well, then I found the list that says that these have 474 whatever units of glyphosate, totally poison. They say organic, they say Whole Foods. 5 boxes of them I threw in the trash. Those just went down the stairs. And then there's the bread that I used to love. I won't say its name because I don't want to, you know, but again, really high in glyphosate.
Yeah.
Doesn't say it on the label, just says organic, healthy, seed oil, trash. So
Hmm.
much of the food is trash. And it's really sad when you've been eating it, sharing with your family, when you realize, my goodness, it's on the list of absolute crap. And then you say, well, who does it hurt? You know, like, why are they doing this and who is it for? Well, it's affecting humans above all. That's why we say take your shoes off at the door. Don't bring the chemtrail stuff in your house. Leave your shoes outside or in a hallway, but don't wear them in your house. It affects humans' body, mind, and spirit because all these things are constantly affecting us. The wildlife. I don't know if you've had a lot less bugs on your windshield when you take a long drive, but we don't have insects hardly at all like we used to. And the wildlife has really slimmed down. Although yesterday I got the greatest gift. I walked in my kitchen, there's a bobcat in my yard walking right toward me. We were just eye to eye. A beautiful bobcat. He hung out in my yard. It was just, oh my God, my heart lit up like a blowtorch. But that was it for the day. I mean, the wildlife is almost gone because of this terrible technology and the poisoning. And then the plants and trees. What we are seeing is that they're having these, oh, the cloud the other day. They told us for 6 days, next Wednesday, we're going to have incredible winds and the electric companies are going to shut down at 2 o'clock. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. In 6 days at 2 o'clock, you already know what? You're going to turn on the wind machine? Yeah. Yeah, I think they did because I was listening and it was 0 to 60, kind of like my car, except it was wind and everything's blowing over. But a lot of people are saying, my God, the trees, the roots are just falling to the ground. Well, what's happening is they've been chemtrailing so much aluminum, barium, strontium, and whatever else, arsenic. It's killing the roots of the trees and the plants. And because underground they communicate lovingly, the root systems between all the trees, it is really doing a number on all of us. And we have to stop it. So I really hope Bobby Kennedy Jr. gets on it. I hope President Trump just makes it illegal in every state. But this is what I saw that got me sick. And I was like, well, that's a triple whammy. And I just kept taking pictures. And then the very next day, first time in 6, 7 years, I got really sick. So did my neighbors. So did everybody I know. So did people in Oregon. I think they just upped the sea trails and the harp then to make it worse. And then they zap with the cell towers when they get the frequencies just right. People really start to get edgy and suffer. And then the smart meters, I don't know what they choose to do, but all of a sudden I'm sitting outside. I do breathing. I do sunning in the morning. And I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be out here today. And the next day I started to get sick. I got a split in my lip and the skin on my nose kind of split. And I was like, what's that?
Mm.
What? That is not normal. And I couldn't fix the split in my lip for 3 weeks. I finally used some tallow and it came back together in a day. So I just wasn't hitting it with the right thing. But good Lord, what's the right thing when we're being attacked like this? Here's a beautiful day in Boulder, Colorado. And when I point and say, oh my God, I'm really trying to be in a good mood, but I just shouldn't be outside. It makes me so angry. And people around me are like, what? It's contrails. And I just get silent because if you don't know the difference, you're part of the problem. And if you're willing to grow and evolve and do some reading and go, oh my God, that is bad, you might call your senators and governors and say, hey, cut it. My dog is sick. I mean, the cancer in pets here. Holy crap. So we have products for pets. So anyway, this is the Colorado sky. This is a typical day, and they just hit all day long, all night long, all day long the next day. And people are so dumbed down because Colorado, they really pushed the thing in the arm, and most people got one, two, three, four. I didn't. My family didn't. And then, come on, like, oh, rainbows in the sky. Isn't that beautiful? No, that's ice crystals reflecting aluminum, barium, strontium from the plane dumping. And it's so sad to realize that this is going on and that most of society isn't mad, isn't calling our senators or congressmen or just firing them. Like, I think the Congress and Senate should just all be fired. They've shut down the important things like the airports and protecting America. We should shut them down and instead give their salaries to, the people that are protecting us. We are in a very strange war against our mind. Oh, rainbow around the moon. No, the cottage cheese is not good for us, and in the fake clouds, but the rainbow around the moon is basically after a day like this. It's just too much toxins in the sky. So I really hope people start to see the difference. Mainly when you see the things start to drip like this middle line,
Hmm.
that is this is just so telling. And when you type in, to an intelligent dashboard, what is sea trails, you'll see this picture, like where it's just dripping. And that's not normal. Sorry, not normal. Why is Colorado so bad? Well, we finally got rid of the WHO, which, made us all wear masks and stay at home and let our grandparents die alone and all those terrible things. Our governor, oh my gosh, Mr. Polis, he is so set on not being good for the people here that he looks to join the WHO Global Outbreak Network so that they can pretend there's another outbreak and make everybody stay home. It's really stunning that he joins the WHO independent of the federal government. Sorry. This allows him to declare the C thing lockdowns again, independent of the US. So every other state will not have anything. They might have coughs and flus, but Colorado's going to be emergency and we're going to be locked down because of this wonderful guy running it, making these decisions. These are the countries allowing mass migration and voter fraud. There's a war between President Trump and the globalists that want to destroy Western civilization. Mr. P, Polis, is on the side of the globalists, and he couldn't care less about Colorado. He's working with Bill and Melinda Gates, even though Melinda left Billy. China, Germany, UK, Gavi, the Vax people, European Commission, yikes, Novo Nordisk Foundation, shots, Japan, Switzerland, and Sweden. Like basically, why doesn't it? Oh, it does say China right at the top. Not what the citizens want. And I don't know how he's getting away with this or this. I live here. Meanwhile, Dude sitting there with a man behind him in girl clothing says, Colorado Governor Mr. P signed a bill this week making Colorado a gender surgery sanctuary state. This is awful, where minors can come or be trafficked, and the state will protect them from their own parents. In other words, Colorado will refuse to return children who travel or trafficked to the state and says it will even ignore a court order from the state of origin. In other words, he is what that says.
Yeah.
The bill was sponsored by Colorado's first openly cross-dressing lawmaker, Representative Brianna Titwan. Titwan, I did not make that name up. Brian has a nice deep voice, and of course that's Brian to the left in the yellow costume. So Colorado's full of men in costumes, and where I live, one of them is running for governor or mayor. And it was the co-mayor. When I went to a city council meeting, I was like, why is that man wearing pearls? And then it stood up and he had on the dress and the whole thing. I'm so over it. I can't do this thing anymore. But here's a solution. The thing should be tested on politicians first. If they survive, the thing is safe. If they don't, then the country is safe.
Mm.
So, frankly, I think Mr. P and his gang of thieves should just overly inject themselves for the darn fun of it, see what happens, because I'm tired of it. On the other hand, the reason I see so much and I don't fall asleep is because I take this product every day.
And I
know
do
you
too.
do too.
I do too.
Well,
Every morning, a tablespoon every day, and it's really good. I love I just love it how it makes me feel.
Well, you look really young and you haven't aged since I've known you for years. Somehow I'm reversing my aging process because I choose this product. I use it on my skin. I use it on my pretty much everything. I
Good.
wake up and I learned a new one from Gary Franchi, who I do shows with every month. And I call it doing the Franchi, where you wake up in the morning and you stick a spoonful of this in your mouth and swish it through your teeth and gums. My teeth aren't receding anymore. My gums aren't. And my daughter was like, oh, I don't want it to yellow my teeth. Dr. Gundry said it bleaches your teeth. Olive oil, good olive oil. So the difference between this and anything else you're going to find on the market is the olive oil is extra virgin, cold pressed from Tunisia. Organic olive oil is from a farm, like specific rather than Costco down the road. And this is also the ESS 60, which is the miracle molecule C60, carbon 60, upgraded to be cleaner so that it's safe for people and pets.
Mm.
I get up, I make my coffee with the MCT coconut oil. So I go all day. I never get tired. And we also have avocado oil, very delicious, very nutty, and it's almost as strong as the olive, whereas the MCT is half as strong. What do? I take twice as much.
Mhm.
So I'm 72, almost another year
You look
next.
great. You look a
Thank
lot
you in a
younger than
couple months.
72.
Well, I'm still kicking, and
Okay.
I think it's because of the Evo. I just don't get brought down. And being sick for this while was because that was serious stuff being dumped, and I really chose not to do antibiotics or Advil, Elite, none of that stuff.
Mm.
So I made myself suffer. I made myself feel this and the cough. But I started using a vaporizer right next to the bed, which I've never done, having it mist all night long. That helped. But I also got on a lot of Evo and natural flower remedies. I found this artist around the corner who does these highly natural remedies. And the combination of that with the Evo brought me around. But boy, a lot of people are really sick, and we don't want to be putting those other things I mentioned, antibiotics or all those other things in our body, because then your gut has to be cleaned next. With Evo and natural remedies, I used red light therapy. I mean, I did everything I could get my hands on that was natural, and I feel so cleaned out. It was a major detox for me. And even my intestines, I'm just like, whoa.
Hmm.
So it nailed everything, this climate change flu. And I'm calling it climate change flu because it's just too obvious. Everybody gets sick when you can see that crap in the sky. So not only do I take the oil, but I protect my skin. And this is our number one product. It's the C60 Evo Advanced Facial Serum. And when you kind of protect your skin with the ESS 60, you're going to have dual in and out. We call it the inside and out set. But people that haven't tried our products, they say, where should I start? What are your best products that people love? This is it right here. We call it the starter set, 4 ounce or 8 ounce, depending on if you've got a big body or big needs like I did. You want an 8 ounce bottle so you can take a tablespoon every day. But you do a shot of this before noon, you're going to feel it. You
Yeah.
put this on your face, you're going to smell heavenly. Now, have you used this on your skin?
I have a long time ago. It's been a while though, but I do use the olive oil, my favorite one, every morning, a tablespoon. You know, before I have any coffees or anything like that, that's what I do, and I love it.
What has it changed in you to take the Evo every day?
I sleep better. I feel like my skin has got better as well. I'm more focused. I think more sharp. And it's probably doing a lot of other things internally that I don't understand, which is in a good way, especially what Chris and yourself have both spoken about regarding the study on rats, I think it was, or mice. I can't remember which one it was. How they lived.
Right.
I think it was like they lived 2.5 times longer without tumors because they usually die from tumors, but the ones that lived longer died without tumors. So I'm, you know, I'm taking, I'm hoping that it's going to allow me to live, maybe a longer, who knows, you know. So it's been really, really
Well,
good.
yay. My mom is going to be 97 in May, and she still looks amazing. And when she runs low, I get a photo of the bottle sideways. And she nonstop takes the Evo oil. The only thing that doesn't work is that she's outliving all of her friends. They're
Mm.
all just petering away. And here she is, 97, brain on fire, just like I call her and I test her, like, do you remember when I was 12 and we had that? And she goes, oh, yeah, conception. She like tells me the story. I can't believe how sharp she is. And it's because she's taken the Evo as long as I have. So, all the things that you mentioned are all the things we brag about: deeper sleep, more energy and focus all day long, but mainly brain focus. And boy, do we need it right now.
Hmm.
And flexibility, endurance. For people that have a race tomorrow, do your Evo double. And then you're going to have a lot more preventative energy in you. And you probably, we always hear this, won't hurt the next day like you might have if you forgot your Evo. Hike with the kids, anything strenuous, double up your Evo, and you're going to do a lot better after your whatever it is that you do, a triathlon or whatever. People that are getting a real benefit that race, because it's kind of like they check your blood for all these horrible things that people might be taking to speed them up. Evo is natural,
Yeah.
so it doesn't come up in the test, but boy does it work. So treat yourself to some C60 Evo organic olive oil, because no matter how old you get, you're going to look like Nicholas maybe.
I mean, I don't feel great because I have put on a few pounds on, so I need to be eating a bit more healthier. But I love how it makes me feel cognitively as well, and my skin. But guys, the link's below in the description, so click on the link below, try it out, let us know what you think, leave your reviews and the comments below in this video. And Patty, again, thank you very much for the presentation, and
Thank
we'll
you.
speak again very soon. You take care.
Okay. Let your audience know that they can get a discount on your landing page, which is c60evo.com/NVTV. If they go to that link, which is probably in the description,
It is.
they're going to get a special discount at checkout, but also 20% off if you sign up for a monthly subscription. You can cancel at any time, but it saves you money. So always, do yourself a favor, do a little shopping, but save yourself some money when you first sign up. And you might absolutely love how you look and feel moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And we'll speak again very soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.